Good evening. Welcome to Shaw Cable's Winter Games preview. Our sports this evening deal with Special Olympics, floor hockey, and gymnastics, and my guests are the medal coordinator of gymnastics, Wendy Lacroix, and the sports chairperson for the Special Olympics floor hockey, Ray Brock. Wendy, I'll start with you first. How did you become involved in the organization of the Winter Games from Nelson?
Well, basically, Art, I've been involved with the BC Games previous to this in Cranbrook in 1986, so I'm quite an avid volunteer for the Games. Being a coach here in Nelson, I got involved with signing up, of course, for the BC Games and getting involved with more or less putting together all the medal presentations for gymnastics.
And before we ask Ray a couple of questions, Wendy, who's the sports chairperson for gymnastics?
Okay, the sports chairman for gymnastics is Sandy Artuso, and she takes care of all the events as well as coordinating all the volunteers.
Ray, how and when did you become involved in the Special Olympics, particularly for the Winter Games?
Okay, well, I was originally working with the Special Olympics for about 5 years, and I've had considerable experience working with disabled athletes. And the equipment facilities director, John Schnarr, asked if I would be willing to take on this responsibility, and I said, fine, no problem.
And when did the committee work start in your case?
Oh, good Lord, we started a year ago. It's been quite a haul.
Yeah, I think it's just about. Wendy, it's been almost a year for you
That's right. Actually, it has been a year in preparation and getting all the facilities coordinated as well as getting the gymnasts involved.
What does maybe ask this, what does a medal coordinator do? I mean, what is your specific job?
Well, my job is actually to coordinate all the events. Now, most of the gymnasts compete in all-around team events and individual events. So I have to be responsible for getting the dignitaries and showing them how to do the presentations of the awards. They're responsible for handing out the gold and the silver medals, as well as we also have volunteers who are helping to hand out the bronze awards and the ribbons.
Okay. I'd like to get back to a little bit later some of the specific parts of the whole organization. Ray, when and how did you get involved in Special Olympics as such?
Well, I've been working with the mentally handicapped adults in the Nelson area for about 8 years, and 3 years ago my supervisor at that time said, hey, I got this letter from a new organization called BC Special Olympics, and they're wondering if we'd like to start an organization locally. And I asked my students, I'm an instructor at the college where I work with them, and they said, yeah, we'd love to get involved. It was a need that needed filling, and so I took it on at that time.
Okay. And what about the history of the Special Olympics in the Winter Games as such? It's not that old, I believe, is it?
Well, this is actually quite exciting. This is the first time that BC Special Olympics will be involved with the Winter Games. BC Special Olympics has been involved with the Summer Games on one other occasion. So we're breaking new ground here.
And we've got some tape with us, and maybe Ray, we should take a look at that now. And I believe this particular clip is of some of our local Special Olympic athletes in a floor hockey practice?
This is a practice that we just had this week, yes.
Okay.
It's a tape of a scrimmage that we had.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the local Special Olympics floor hockey. Ray, after watching that, maybe you can mention some of the names of the athletes that we saw in that clip.
Sure. Three in particular I'd like to draw attention to. Number 6, the person who was facing off most of those for those face-offs, is a fellow by the name of Adrian Nowlin. One of my defensive players is a woman by the name of Bev Johnson. And my goaltender, a fellow out of Castlegar, his name is Tim Pretty. These people are very accomplished athletes in BC Special Olympics circles, and they've competed actually at the international level in a tournament in Toronto, and did very well.
And how long have they been playing the sport?
Oh, 4 years, 5 years. So they've climbed very quickly. They've done quite well.
You were also telling me off camera that you have quite a rivalry in local tournaments and competitions,
Well,
especially with the Lower Mainland people.
The particular rivalry that we have is with the team from Vancouver, which is coming to this tournament. And last year at the provincial championships, they were the only team to beat us the entire tournament. It was the gold medal game. They got the gold. We got the silver. It was in Vancouver. We're looking forward to getting them on our home turf.
How many people on the team, Ray?
We have 12 athletes at this time, and which gives us 2 full lines and 1 substitution in case of an injury.
And how often are you practicing?
Twice a week, but we practice a little harder than the Lower Mainland. I understand they practice 5 nights a week down there. So
Maybe we'll be in shape and show them when they get here.
I don't think they'll be used to our elevation.
Wendy, what about the history of gymnastics? It goes back a little farther in Special Olympics, I believe.
Well, the gymnastics has actually been involved right from the beginning of the BC Games, and we do have one sport that's acting as a display sport, and that is rhythmic gymnastics. We will be doing a display on the Friday night in the Canadian International College. They'll be doing a display. Now, rhythmic gymnastic involves working with hoops, balls, and ribbons, and it's a different type of gymnastics. This is the first time it's acting as a display sport.
And I believe that was it 1984 in Los Angeles? It was the first time it was on the
That's
Olympics,
correct.
and Canada won the first gold medal.
Yes,
Laurie Fung.
Yes.
What about you mentioned the International College? It's you're quite excited to have a venue that large, because usually the gymnastics people aren't used to something that large. It's been more of a small elementary school. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about the venue.
Well, we are very, very lucky because we do have a very large gym for the sport, and we have a very good viewing area for our crowds to view all the different events. In previous years, we've had gymnastics in a very small elementary school, which really limits the sports that we can put on or hold at any one time. So I think the audience has a great opportunity to see a lot of different events happening at the same time.
Maybe now's a good time to take a look at the gymnastics clip. I understand you brought us a tape, and
That's right.
Maybe we'll take a look at that now.
Sure.
And give our viewing audience a chance to look at it. Wendy, maybe you can mention a couple of people that we saw in that clip and a couple local girls
Okay, you'll
there.
probably see some of the gymnasts that are practicing and working out at CIC right now. They're at the Nelson Gymnastic Club, and that was Miriam Brown. She's one of our competitors at the BC Games this year.
And I'd like to get more into the athletes in just a couple of minutes, but Ray, where is the venue for the Special Olympics floor hockey?
The venue is at South Nelson Elementary School.
Okay. Did South Nelson have to be equipped a special way for the Special Olympics, or
No,
basically?
it's just fine. We've had to make some minor renovations. We've had to take any of the climbing bars and things off of the walls for
Right.
safety purposes, but other than that, it's just fine.
Wendy, how about CIC? It pretty well good as it is, or did you have to
We've
make
had to
some?
do a few adjustments with floor plates because we have 2 sets of bars, and that's uneven bars for women. We also have the high bar for men, and we require floor plates, so we had to have those installed.
Let's get zero in on the athletes for a minute here. Ray, is there an age group for the Special Olympics floor hockey, or is it?
There is. Because of the nature of the sport, there is some body contact that takes place, and we don't want to, of course, have injuries. We place a minimum age of 16 on these athletes so that they have some size and strength to be able to handle themselves against the older participants. The local team, I believe my youngest player is 24 and my oldest player is 44, so we have quite a range.
Sure. Wendy, what about the age group in gymnastics?
Okay, we have women 15 years and over, and girls 14 and over, and in the men we go 16 years and over, and 15 years and under. So.
Okay. And Wendy, what about, you've had your zone trials, and where have they been? And
Yes, our zone trials were actually held in January in Trail, BC.
okay. And the local athletes that made the team, Miriam Brown you mentioned, I'm assuming that she was one of the ones that
That's
will be-
correct. We also have 2 other girls in Trail who tried out. Well, there were several girls that tried out actually, and they're on standby for any one time that any of the athletes drop out. So there's one girl who's working out quite diligently at the Trail Club right now.
Okay. And Ray, who did your people have to beat to represent Zone 1?
Well, actually, we didn't have to beat anyone. In the interior, Special Olympics is still developing and expanding. In Zone 1, the only other team is in Creston, and it's at the developmental stages at this time. And so we're the team from the region.
Will all 8 zones have representation here?
No, there won't be. There will be representation from 6 of the zones. 2 of the teams actually coming are all-star teams made up from more than one zone.
Okay. But for the first chance, 6 out of 8 zones is
Not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, how about gymnastics? Every zone being represented?
Yes, yes, we have actually. All the zones are included in the games this year, so we'll have full teams for most of them.
Okay. Ray, what about the tournament format? I mean, what is it a round robin or just?
It is. We have a total of 4 teams, and they will have an initial round robin. 3 games each team will play, and based on points, then we'll have a short playoff. 1 game, the first place team playing against the 4th place, second against the 3rd. The winner of those 2 teams will play for the gold and silver medal the following day.
Okay. Now, do you have any times yet for when you're going to be start your play? Maybe.
I have some exact times here.
Okay, great. Maybe.
The competition will happen, or will take place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, the games start at, if I can just refer to this, 8:30 in the morning, and they'll run until the 4th game starting at 3:30 in the afternoon. Should be finished by about 5. Same for Saturday. The afternoon games on Saturday will be the playoff games.
Okay.
The gold medal game is on Sunday morning at 10:30.
Okay. Now, a floor hockey game, is it 3 20-minute periods, the same as an ordinary game?
A little bit different, a little bit different. It's 3 periods of 12 minutes each period. So it's a 36-minute period, or it's a 36-minute game.
Okay. What about the gymnastics? How's that? Now, you said yours gets fairly complicated because there's boys and girls, women and girls and men and boys, so that, you have different ranges there too. Maybe you want to just...
Okay, well, most of the athletes compete in individual, all around, and then there's the team events. So we have medal presentations for all 3 events. We also have, for the men, we have 6 events that they compete in, okay? So that's parallel bars, floor, palma, rings, high bar, and vault. And the women, they have 4 events, and that's beam, floor, vault, and uneven bars.
Now, are these in the different events? Are they all going at once? You watch this on TV, and you see them going from one, but they're in huge halls. Is CIC big enough to do that?
No, actually, we start Friday night at. We actually start Friday day at 8 o'clock, and the girls are going to be marching in at 8:15 and going to their general warm-up. And most of the events will start right at 10 o'clock. And they'll start with actually the boys' palma, rings, and floor, and girls' beam and floor. So we have scheduled events for both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. Now you're talking about all this equipment. Does any of it or all of it or none of it have to be brought in? Does Nelson and the surrounding area have equipment too?
Okay. Well, we're lucky enough that we have some bars here. Any equipment that we can't provide, the BC Games bring their own equipment. So we're looking at a full floor setup so that the gymnasts can compete on a floor. So that has to be all laid down. Also, we're looking at vaults, freestanding rings for the men, and the high bar for the men. Because the Nelson Club mainly deals with women's gymnastics, we don't carry a lot of the men's equipment, so that will have to be brought from Vancouver.
Okay. Ray, maybe we should get into a little bit of what the local Special Olympics program as a whole is. What does it involve, and how are you involved in this whole thing? Because the Winter Games is only one aspect of it. It only comes around once a year.
That's right.
What do your athletes do the rest of the year?
Well, the main sport that we have been able to compete in so far has been the floor hockey. It's been the mainstay. It's been the sport that the athletes wish to play in the most. We're really looking to expand. We're looking for coaches. We're looking for a lot of people at the organizational level to enable us to expand into bowling, track and field, soccer. Weightlifting is one that we're definitely looking at trying in the very near future. So we're looking to expand to a number of other sports.
So it basically, I understand that it's a total parallel sport, disabled, enabled, and one needs as many people as the other one does.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
How about the local gymnastics program, Wendy? What is that, and how many people involved?
Okay, we have quite a large club that's involved. We actually have the girls coming Monday night from 4 to 6, Tuesday night from 3:30 to 6 o'clock, and again on Thursday night 3:30 to 6 o'clock. We have actually 2 programs. One is a recreational gymnastic program, and those are for children who would just like to come and have an introduction to gymnastics. And then we have a competitive program, and the competitive program runs the later.
Okay, we've got about 4 minutes left, and maybe mention a little bit about your committees. How many people is involved in your committee, Ray?
Well, I have 2 other people that are very active. I have an assistant sport chairperson. His name's Jim Torrance, and he's invaluable, provides lots of assistance. And my medal coordinator is a woman by the name of Rhea Tromp, and she provides lots of extra assistance.
And how many people will you need at the particular venue to run your particular sport?
Well, we have a total of 12 volunteers lined up, and we have all the angles covered.
Okay. How about your committee? Like you're you're not the chairperson, but how many
No.
people are involved to run this thing?
Okay, well, for gymnastics, we have to have a lot of volunteers. One, we have to have people who score at each event. So there's usually 2 scorekeepers, just depending on the events that you're scoring at any one time. We need flag people so that they can flag or flash the scores up. So we're looking at 1 or 2 runners per event for that. It also involves many of the people recording of all the results. So we have quite a few women that are involved with that, medal presentators, so that they come and they present the medals and do the announcements as well. So for myself, I have about 4 people working with me. And
So,
in total, we're looking at, I'd say, almost the whole gym club, a lot of young people involved. So anywhere from 30 volunteers
Okay.
getting involved.
We have about a little more than a minute. Ray, who's going to officiate your
We have
tournament?
2 officials coming from the Lower Mainland and 2 local fellows who've agreed to do some officiating.
Okay. And Wendy, you've got some very technical events. Where are your officials coming from?
Well, all of our judges come from the Lower Mainland. Most of them come from the Lower Mainland. We also have some judges that are probably coming from the Okanagan area, and I'm sure we'll probably have 1 judge from the local Kootenay area. So all in all, we have most of the officials coming from.
Okay. We've just running out of time here. I'd like to thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's 3 weeks to go, and I'm sure you're going to be very busy. Just a reminder that the Winter Games office at 619 Vernon Street, that's across from the Nelson Hotel, they're always still looking for volunteers at every sport and every venue. Their phone number is 352-1919. And if you're interested in volunteer and you haven't already, they can sure use you. Until next week, my name's Art Maxwell. Good evening.